Hey, what's going on, Leo? How are you? Thanks for watching. This is going to be your September read for the full moon that occurs this month. It's going to occur on September 24th in the sign of Aries. It's also known as the harvest moon, as it is the first moon that takes place after the fall equinox. Now, during the harvest moon, we are reminded of the things that we have accomplished and the things that we have worked towards all year. And also, we're being reminded about the things that we still have yet to complete before the end of the year or by winter, right? So, this is really what this particular read is going to really focus on, okay? So, Leo, this is for you. Let's see what we have coming for you during this new cycle of the full moon. Or not new cycle, but the full moon here. The harvest moon, I mean. Right, where's Leo at? Right there. Okay, Leo. Thanks for being patient with me. All right, Leo. Let's take a gander. So, okay, Leo. Right out of the gate here, this is some pretty serious energy. However, it is maybe lighter energy that you have been experiencing all year up to this point. I feel like for a lot of you Leos, you have been experiencing like, you've been, really stressed, really up in your head, really worried about maybe the outcome or the way something actually played out, right? Maybe there was a cycle that ended and, you were really, really caught up with the way things that ended, how harsh they ended, how harsh it was for you. Or maybe some of you, even with it being in this position, maybe you actually ended something with somebody and now you're like kind of reflecting on how harsh you were to that particular individual, or how abruptly, you made the choice to no longer think a certain way or be committed to certain thought processes or opinions within your own, within your own inner circle. So, Leo, it's just a matter of perception of the way you look at it, and it also just depends on what you have gone through. For a lot of you Leos, I just really feel like, again, something happened to you to where now you're like, okay, it happened, and I'm really moving towards like just not making this a big factor in the coming months that I have left in the year. And then also for some of you Leos, this is something saying that you caused an ending to a particular situation or way of thinking. And then now, it's like in retrospect, you're thinking, okay, well, maybe did I handle that? Did I really was I really using my best judgment? And then with, this being the 10, this definitely is marking like an end of an end of a particular cycle, right? So with it hanging up here, I feel like a lot of you are even, kind of holding on to the thing that caused the abrupt ending. Maybe you came into some certain knowledge that really just like kind of really was a big culture shock to you, and you understand that there's no way that you can go back to being like in a state of this, like it's almost like ignorance is bliss, like when you were oblivious to certain things, you were still in your cycles, but at the same time it was like it just wasn't the best thing for you, and it ended, and it's like in retrospect now you're actually seeing you're seeing a different perspective of it. And for some of you, while you're doing that, it's not like you've really let go. You're gonna have to completely let go, but we'll see what happens. Keep wanting to do that. Okay, so again, yeah, what's bringing you like off balance for some of you, or something that you need to pay attention to in order for you to remain balanced as you actually move through this full moon here, is I get the Six of Swords in reverse. So I feel like a lot of you are, again, like I said, going back to old thought patterns. Not really, really letting go of the situation that occurred that hurt you. It happened because it needed to happen. Something needed to end. Something really like your particular, for a lot of you, maybe your particular belief in a situation, needed to really end. For your betterment, right? But I just feel like some of you are just really still holding on, Leo. Some of you are really like struggling with, letting go of the past, or something that is like, I feel like for a lot of you, it's like something that happened. For a lot of you, maybe within the past 6 months or the past 10 months, I feel like there's something that happened that it's like it just keeps replaying over in your mind, over and over and over in your mind. You're thinking about this situation. You're thinking about, what could I have done to make this situation go better? What could I have done before that? What could I have done after that? You're just too much in your head. It's like the Ten of Swords in reverse is like the Nine of Swords. I think I said the Nine of Swords when I first turned it over. But it's like that. It's like that energy. It's like the Ten of Swords in reverse is, okay, it's like the Nine of Swords, you were stressed and you were worried and you were up at night and you were, over an ongoing situation. But with the Ten of Swords being there, it's saying that, that situation is over now. But you still can't let go of it. You're still like, just in heavy thought about it. And, it's just like almost like stages of grief in a way. But not for a person, just for an outcome that didn't go the way you wanted it to go. But you need to let go of that so that you actually, can move on to what is better for you. Because, like I said, this is a 10. This is the end of the cycle. So, you need to really let go and move really away from the rippled waters into the calmer waters instead of moving back into the rippled waters. The situation is over, but you want to stay around and move back into it. Okay, so with the Sun card being here in reverse, what's changing for you at this time right now for a lot of you Leos? The funny thing about it is that, Leo, this is your card, right? This is your card. You can consider it to be your card, with it being the Sun. The Sun is, great fire energy. So, Leo, I feel like there's a lot of energy coming off of you from this, but it's in reverse. And the reason why it's in reverse is because what's changing for you is like, almost it's like your world. It's like your world is being turned upside down. It's like, things that you thought you knew, things that you thought you were so sure of. It's just like, okay, I'm not so sure of them anymore. It's almost like a state of confusion. It's almost like a state of like the truth has been shown to you, but it's like you're purposely not believing it, Leo. It's like you're purposely, turning a blind eye to it while still going through it. And I didn't mean for that to rhyme. Well, anyways, so that's exactly what I'm showing right now as far as what's changing for a lot of you Leos. For some of you, for another group of you Leos, it could be some of you out there that are keeping someone in, it's like vice versa. It's like you're keeping someone holding on. Within your own mind and within your own self, right, that the situation is over, and it was probably over before it really even started with this person. But your intent was to create ripples, right? And so now you've given somebody like maybe even a false sense of hope or a false sense of clarity. So it could be you, hanging swords over somebody else's head in a manipulative way, Leo. So, that's just maybe for a few of you. You got to let me know. But we'll see what's happening here. Okay, so here I'm getting the Nine of Wands. And I only laugh because of the position that the Nine of Wands in reverse is sitting in. So this is talking about, this position right here is talking about, things that you need to release, things that you need to let go of during this full moon. Okay, things that just are no longer going to serve you, right? So with the Nine of Wands being here in reverse, this is basically telling me here, like, with if he was upright for me, this is saying that, okay, you need to be a little bit less guarded. But I feel like right here with the Nine of Wands in reverse, this is telling me that, okay, Leo, we understand, you know, okay. I gotta stop speaking in that particular tense. So with this Nine of Wands here in reverse, Leo, I feel like this is telling us that, okay, you know, you understand exactly the things that are going on, like in this whole situation. Um, I feel like with this, you're not necessarily being manipulated anymore. Like you are in the know about it. Um, but you're in the know about the fact that there were things that you didn't know. And so it's like that's what's got you all like in a topsy turvy, right? Is because it's like, wow, how dare me, how dare you, and then it's like you immediately, it's like now you're on the defense, but it's almost like it's from a very weak stance. Um, it's from a very weak stance, is because it's almost like, it's almost like you're a victim, or you feel victimized, and the universe is asking you to not be that victim. Release that, overcome that, get rid of that negative energy, the negative vibes. you know I look at this as being equal. I mean, like I said, the ten of swords, the ending that you just keep stressing over and over about, that you won't let end. That's like the Nine of Swords, right? And then with next to the Nine of Wands is telling me here that is like it's correlation with that, as far as you not um you being like completely like letting your guard down, or not like letting your guard down, but it's like, I see, like, for some of you, it's like you're very vulnerable. You're coming from a very vulnerable place. You're making your decisions, and the ideals that you even have are coming from a very vulnerable place. The universe is asking you to not be vulnerable. The universe is just saying, okay, you know what? You need to buck up, Leo. Buck up, gather your wands, because this is almost done too. This is Nine of Wands energy too, so you're almost again at another cycle, Leo. So it's like, are y'all overlapping cycles? It's like, but the funny thing about it is, no, it's probably the same cycle. I just feel like, for some of you, it's like, okay, it's like you're literally like there, Leo. It's like you're so there. It's like you're already in the know about the things that you need to change. You already know that things may, to a certain level, have already started to change. It's like you're approaching that threshold, right? And so now, okay, now that the door has opened to that threshold, and we see that things aren't exactly what we really wanted them to be, we see that things aren't working out the way we really wanted them to be. It's like, okay, now, I mean, you still have to go through that threshold, because guess what? On the other side of that threshold, there's probably something else that's waiting for you, that's, you know, is worth more than, you stressing out and being confused. So the universe, I feel, is really asking you, Leo, like, let your guard down, like, let your defenses down. Hey, Leo, sorry about that. For whatever reason, the do not disturb, you know, disturbed, right? Well, let's get right back into it. So I think where I was at was, I was saying that I just really feel like I'm getting a really strong presence here of you. Just like mentally, you're on guard, and you're still stressed and worried about the outcomes and the way that things didn't work. But at the same time, it's like you're very vulnerable. You're not necessarily, like the actions that you're taking are coming from like a very vulnerable place. Like, you may be even acting recklessly for some of you, Leos. Okay, yeah, here I'm feeling like what you need to understand moving forward. The best way that you can move forward is, to just really pay attention to the things that you already have. Not to say be closed to what the universe is offering you on an emotional level, but it's saying, you do need to deal with the emotions that you already have before you can really accept anything new from the universe. The universe, I feel like, definitely is saying that, when you're ready to accept it, this is still here from you. But I feel like you're really wanting, even a lot of you are moving through the new cycle, the full moon cycle, wanting to really like just pay attention to like what you already have, to figure out what the Three of Cups, what this is meaning for you. And we already know that the Three of Cups is like, celebration. For some of you, you may even begin to be celebrating the fact that you're single. If you are maybe somebody who were the person who ended the relationship or ended the called any type of business dealings off, or changed your mind about a certain situation and left somebody else confused. Yeah, maybe that communication is off a little bit, but it's really just because you're really paying attention to trying to just really find your own independent happiness. And for some of you, it's like, okay, you were even confused on your own. And so now you don't want to be in a place where you're having somebody else be confused and having them, put their guards down for no reason, only to be let down. Oh, Leo, there's that dang Nine of Swords. But it's in reverse. And what this is telling me here is this is a regression. So we have the Ten of Swords in reverse to the Nine of Swords in reverse. So I feel like in some sort of weird way, Leo, like you are calming yourself and soothing yourself and in a way even healing yourself. I feel like you are using the little information that you do have about the situations that you are in, like you have been, um, like you have been, it's so crazy. Like I'm just getting like a really, like a zoom of different scenarios. So excuse me if I lose my train of thought. Leo, I don't feel like you want to be in a space of being unhappy. I feel like, during this new, I keep wanting to say new. For some of you, maybe even during that new moon cycle that we had in Virgo just a couple of weeks ago on September 9th. It was when you set your intentions out to the universe to, be more in the know about things, to be able to, discern where you need to make changes in your thought processes so that you can completely move forward, right? But for a lot of you, this might not even be about you moving out of a cycle. For some of you, this really does speak to you having work within the current cycle that you're in. It's like there's just some current inner work that you are working on. You are working on your insecurities and your vulnerabilities and I see that here with the 10 down to 9. It's like, okay, with now, first, you weren't trying to let the situation go. It's a situation ended or a situation approached an ending, and you know it's like you were like, now you were focused so much on the fact that things ended that on different scenarios beyond that. And then it's like, now, okay, well, with the Nine of Swords being in reverse, this is telling me, okay, well, now some of these thoughts have started to calm down. Maybe if you've actually even come into certain knowledge while focusing on yourself, that has allowed you to really remove one of those swords and really take it and pick it apart and deal with it and get rid of it. And then now you're down to the Nine of Swords in reverse. And why it's in reverse, I don't know, but if it's working, it's a regression, and if that's what's going to keep, going to keep going down, down, and down into, a more positive mindset, or into a mindset where you can actually make the change to move forward out of that cycle on a more upright level, then that's beautiful. That's beautiful, Leo. So I do want to clarify a few cards here. I'm going to use the Deviant Moon deck to clarify here. What is this Ten of Swords that we have in reverse as it relates to the Nine of Swords in reverse regression? How is this playing out for our Leos? Whoa. That's way too many cards. Way too many. How is this playing out for our Leos here? This Ten of Swords with the Nine of Swords in regression. Okay, so we have the Page of Cups. So we have the Page of Cups coming out here to clarify the Ten of Swords and the Nine of Swords in regression, as it's regressing. So I really feel like for a lot of you Leos, this could indicate that there just really may be some new love or some new emotions on the scene that's just really distracting you, and or allowing you to really deal with at least one of these swords, right, and take them out. But also this is feel like this is like communication coming for you about emotional things, like maybe things like confirmation, like information that comes to you that's like confirmation of things that you had already been stressed and worried about, and now you can, now that's dealt with, and you can, really, again, work your way to, a lot of you, like I said, work your way down to a point, maybe the Five of Swords or something or whatever, before you can actually really change it back around and work your way out of this complete cycle. So yeah, this is either new love that's distracting you and keeping your mind at bay, or this is just new information confirming things that you were already emotional about, and now you don't have to deal with it because okay? So Spirit, can we please clarify here this Nine of Wands in reverse? Why is Leo so vulnerable? Nine of Wands in reverse. Could you please clarify? Yeah. Okay. So we get the Ace of Wands in reverse, the Eight of Wands, and then the Five of Pentacles. So what this is telling me here, that there has been definitely a lot of things that has gone on in your past, including or excluding the current, that had probably already, always left you in a vulnerable state. I feel like when you entered this particular situation, at whatever point in the year that it happened, you had already had some things underlying that you had to deal with, and this could be some indicators of that. With this Ace of Wands here, a lot of you may be feeling like in the past there were opportunities that you that were closed to you. Okay, and I feel like there may have been like harsh communication with that. You may have been like really felt rejected. You put your heart out there on the line, and somebody wasn't really noticing what it was that you were putting there to offer, and you communicated your feelings and your intentions and how you want to move forward, and I feel like someone said no, and or to a certain level, maybe have harshly told you no, and it messed with you. And maybe in this particular relationship, this could be going on in this particular relationship. This could be the reasons why you're having a hard time letting go, is because maybe the same person that you want that love and that affection from is really not giving it to you. And if they are giving it to you, it's because it's coming from a place of like just trying to keep you where you're at and keep control over you. So dang. All right, Leo. So what are some things that what are some additional information here? I'm going to ask our Black Moon to give us some additional insight from a cosmic level about how we should move forward through this new moon, or full moon cycle. I'm sorry. Okay. We have Yod, destiny, lunar eclipse, change, and then lastly, earth element, stability. Okay, so Leo, this is really speaking to your reading in a very unique way. This is basically telling me, okay, so with destiny, we're understanding, you're understanding that there are some particular challenges. There may be like a how can I say this? It's like a particular change that you didn't have all of the answers for before the particular change happened, and it kind of like swiped the carpet up against from your feet, and you weren't able to get your balance right. But what this is telling me here is that really honestly and truly, you will be, even though you don't have all the answers to why things changed the way they changed, Leo, for you, or why things are going to be changing the way they changed. You may not have all the answers, but the things that you are going through, it is, it is a part of your destiny. It is a part of something that, you can't avoid. You are going to have to actually deal with, the inner things that you have going on with you, the things that, you don't even know yourself. Maybe the things that, I've get in a sense, it's like things that you keep hidden to yourself, there's things that you don't tell other people, but then there's also things that you suppress on your own that are really coming to surface. And it's kind of rocking your stable boat here, but okay, well, get out of the water and get on something more stable. Okay, because up until this point here, Leo, I don't feel like you've ever been really in anything stable. It's always been, throughout this year, this past year, or maybe this past 10 months, even for some of you, it's like, for a lot of you, you feel like, it's just been like a series of letdowns. Okay? But really, I feel like you really just need to just stand your ground, even against, the possibility of change that you don't really know all the answers about yet. Sometimes, destiny leads us into a certain type of change, where we don't have all the answers, but change is always going to be for your betterment. And then the way I'm interpreting this is, looking like this is card number, I don't know if you can see it. This is card number 48, and then eclipse card is number, lunar eclipse card is number 43. Okay, and so that's like a 5-number regression, yeah. And then what did I say earlier about, like, for a lot of you, it's when you regress back to the 5 of Swords when you'll be able to really change and work your way back up more stable out of that cycle. And guess what? We got from 48 to 38, so that's like a 10-step regression there, or progression, depending on where you're at in your cycles right now, Leo. So, Leo, I just want to get one more big piece of information here, something else to send you off with, just because I do really appreciate you. What are some more messages here for Leo as they work their way through this full moon cycle, our harvest moon? What are some more harvest moon energies for Leo? Please let us know. Okay, so yeah. So we have the gate here. So Leo, what pops up for you is the gate. A barrier keeps you from your goal. Okay, well, you know what? We already know what that barrier is, Leo. That barrier is your own mind. That barrier is your own worries, your own thoughts, your own fears, your own insecurities, your own letdowns, your own perceptions of how those letdowns affected you. That's what's keeping you from moving through the blocks that have come up in your life, or that you may be facing soon enough. Okay, All right. So here, choose your words carefully with the Sphinx. So basically, this is saying here for you, Leo, that you know, just pay attention to the actual words that you are speaking into the atmosphere during this full moon cycle, okay? Because those words you could be actually putting right out there to the universe for it to manifest. And with this full moon, things are really, really intensified, maybe even your emotions. So just really pay attention to the things that you say, as they can come to fruition sometimes on accident. And with, like I said, with this harvest moon, yeah, this would be the perfect time to be just wise about the things that you say or the way that you say them to people. Also, just be careful about the way that you interpret the things that people are saying to you. If it's criticism, even if it comes in a harsh way, see if you can use it to your highest good. If you can't, then okay, leave it alone. Don't worry about it. Well, Leo, that's going to be it really here for your full moon reading. I'm really interested in seeing how this plays out. This is some really good energy for you. It's really intense. It's not necessarily negative, but you just have to really just pull yourself out of that headspace of, being afraid to deal with it's like you want to come out of your cycle, but you can't because you're really being forced to almost kind of forced to deal with yourself. Like it's like you're forced to kind of go back and deal with learn some lessons from this cycle, or just really gain a certain perspective about the things that already happened during this cycle, so that you can really kind of work your way back up through it on a more upright stance. So, okay, Leo, that's it. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here and let you go. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good one.